Good day, everyone. My name is G. Mariel L. Gaputan, and today I will be sharing to you the teaching strategies that I have gathered to support teaching students with communication disorder or speech and language impairment. Today, we are going to discuss three areas, and the first one being the general teaching strategies, the second one being the what if I have this type of learner. I have gathered different needs of learners with communication disorder, and we shall identify what are the strategies that best support these learners. And the third one would be some examples of activities plus an additional tip for us teachers. Let us start with general teaching strategies. According to Cooley 2007, as cited in Zebron et al., it is important for us teachers to work with a speech therapist either within the classroom or as a collaborative resource outside of school. This is because with the expertise of the speech therapist, we teachers can better support the needs of learners with communication disorder. This is for the situation where learners are assumed to have speech therapists. Moreover, it is also stated there that understanding, patience, and acceptance should be practiced by the teacher and emphasize respect in the classroom. In addition, since the teacher understands the needs of the students or student, the teacher should provide extra time for these students to process the information and to answer questions. Teachers should also never mimic a child with a speech disorder. And instead of directly correcting the child for mispronounced phrases, it is encouraged for teachers to repeat these mispronounced phrases as a question so it does not seem like a criticism to them. Children with language development problems should also be called in class, and the teacher should make sure that this happens at least once per day. Now, let's proceed to the strategies that addresses the specific needs of these learners with communication disorder. Let us answer the question, what if I have this type of learner? What should I do? What if we have a learner in the classroom who has difficulty listening to instruction or is easily distracted? Teachers can have the child's attention and remind the child that he or she should use good listening skills, and it will not stop at that. The teacher should also praise them when they do these. It should also be emphasized that instructions must be given before the activity rather than during the activity. And for the teacher to ensure if the child has really understood the instructions, the teacher shall also encourage the child to repeat the instructions. Next, what if we have learners who have difficulty of taking in and remembering large amounts of information? The teacher can speak slowly and pause between key phrases so that the teacher can allow the child to process that information that she is giving. Next one is to use short and simple sentences and emphasize keywords when giving information. For example, the teacher can give instructions, but before that, he or she must emphasize keywords that are already more familiar to that student, and for that student to focus on that keywords. Next, the teacher should also be aware of the rate of the way he or she is talking and keep in mind that he or she should slow down. Teachers should also give visual support for the information that he or she will be giving. And lastly, the student must be reminded and encouraged to ask for help or to express his or her concern if he or she needs help so that the teacher can assist him in appropriate ways. In addition to what was mentioned earlier, it was also cited there that the teacher should also repeat what he or she had said rather than rephrasing, because rephrasing will allow the learners to process more information, because this time he or she will be taking in the first thing that you said and the one that you rephrased. So it becomes an information overload for them. And for questions, it is recommended that the questions should be close-ended rather than open-ended. And when telling stories, the teacher should also revise and summarize these stories so that it will not be too long and very detailed that the learner will find it difficult to take in. It's also recommended that the teacher will encourage the learner to retell the story. What if we have children who have difficulties interpreting implied or ambiguous meanings? Teachers should avoid words that can be misleading and have many interpretation and is prone to misinterpretations. It is important for teachers to be clear. Next, what if we have children who have difficulties understanding relationships between associated words? The teacher must introduce a vocabulary word one at a time and use visual support when introducing them and modeling them frequently in sentences. What if we have children who find it difficult to produce grammatically correct sentences? Teachers can repeat back their sentence, modeling the correct grammar to be used. For example, if the child said that, quote unquote, the boy eated his lunch. The teacher can then respond to the child, that's right, the boy ate his lunch. This will make them feel not embarrassed and under pressure. So this means that it lessens the tension that they feel in learning. What if the learner continuously repeats his mistake? The teacher should have let him or her hear that he made a mistake and provide him or her the opportunity to correct that mistake. For example, when the child says, he went swimming, and the teacher can ask, if it's a girl, do we say he or she? Then the child can answer this question. But it is recommended that you only do this when the child is capable of giving the correct answer. What if we have a learner who have difficulty with naming items or finding the right word at times? So first, if the teacher knows what the word that is the learner trying to find, the teacher can provide forced alternatives, like the teacher can ask, is it a dog or a cat? Or the teacher can cue the beginning sound of a word. So if the teacher knows that he's looking for the word cat, so he will cue the beginning sound of the word cat. So now if the teacher doesn't know the word that the child is looking for, the teacher can ask questions to help the child. Like the teacher can ask, is it an object? Is it alive? Does the word starts with What does it do? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? And what does it feel like? And lastly, for children who find it difficult to sequence their thoughts to produce coherent sentences or stories, the teacher can cater to this need by asking questions that clarify what they are talking about. So the teacher can ask the questions about who, what, where, why, and how. Now, we proceed with some examples of activities plus an additional tip. The teacher can utilize sound discrimination exercises by incorporating multisensory activities such as clapping and stomping out new syllables of new vocabulary. Or the teacher can also color code the different phoneme groups. The teacher can utilize games such as the rhyming bingo and other card games. To help learners with sequencing and order, the teacher can ask the learners to Think of what they will say and put them in bullet points. And after that, they can display the correct sequence through a timeline. To help learners build vocabulary, the teachers can use photos, objects, and pictures to help them remember the new vocabulary and encourage them by using their visual memory. Those are examples of activities, and now I will give you a tip that I learned from one of the resources. This is to put emphasis on helping learners express what they need and to help learners build their self-esteem. Teachers can do this by making sure to notice and praise the good interactions and speech that they manifest. That is it for the teaching strategies in teaching students with communication disorder or speech and language impairment. We tackled about the general teaching strategies, we answered what if I have this type of learner, and we gave you some examples of activities plus an additional important tip for us teachers. I hope you learned something and this can inspire you to do better in your future classrooms. Thank you so much and God bless. The following are the references used for this presentation.